I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I'd like to talk about the transit of Jupiter while it is transiting in the very last degrees of Scorpio and will turn retrograde at the very beginning of Sagittarius, 0 degrees. So what I want to talk about today is the fact that Jupiter will be Ghandanta, because what Ghandanta means is drowning, literally means drowning. But in order for a planet to be Ghandanta, it must be in the very last degrees of a water sign or the very first degrees of a fire sign. And therefore, that means that if any planet is transiting in the last degrees of Cancer or the very first degrees of Leo, as well as going to Scorpio, where Jupiter is right now, around 29 degrees of Scorpio in 0 degrees of Sagittarius. Now there's a little variance. It doesn't have to be just 29 degrees. It can be 28, 29 degrees, 0 degrees, 1 degree. So of water and fire. And of course, Ghandanta is when a planet could be transiting the very last degrees of Pisces and the very first degrees of Aries. So right now, what's very unusual about this Ghandanta period for Jupiter is that it's going to be turning retrograde while it's Ghandanta. So when a planet turns retrograde or direct, it slows down, and pretty much seems to stop at a certain degree, and then it will change its direction. So Jupiter is slowing down right now, and it is going to stop to turn retrograde. This will be April 10th. But right now, Jupiter, as I speak in March, Jupiter is 29 degrees of Scorpio. Now, I have made reference to this portion of the zodiac many times. This is a very dangerous and explosive area of the zodiac, the very last degrees of Scorpio. It is in the tail of the scorpion, and it has been said that this is the most treacherous point of the zodiac. So as planets transit through this sort of valley of where it's conjunct the tail of the scorpion, you can see many difficult things are occurring in the world. And as we see these transits and Jupiter goes into the sign of Sagittarius, where it will pretty much stay there around 0 degrees the whole month of April. Let me give you these dates. Jupiter will be 0 degrees of Sagittarius from March 30th through April 23rd. So almost a month that it's going to be standing still at 0 degrees. And the reason why I think this is really significant, first we have the last degrees of Scorpio and then the very first degree of Sagittarius. This portion is not only Ghandanta, but astronomically, there are so many black holes in this region of the sky. Black holes are this energy that just sucks the life out of things, and in astronomy, when we look at those areas of the black holes, this is the most intense. It is close to the galactic center, which in the process of when stars are dying and they become black holes and they suck in everything, this is a huge indicator for an area of destruction and transformation. So be aware that Jupiter makes things big, by the way. Jupiter is the planet that is big, and it can expand and it can make things more intense. So when we talk about Ghandanta and the fact that it means drowning, realize that this will promote many storms, rain in huge amounts around the world. So we're looking at flooding, storms, drowning. This is going to be a huge time period between now and April, and really Jupiter will still be in the latter degrees of Scorpio throughout part of May. So watch how this really transcends, and everywhere in the world there's drowning. But figuratively, drowning pretty much means losing control, because in the process that someone feels like they're drowning, they feel like they can't grasp onto anything, and they feel literally out of control. So it's not just that people will be literally drowning, but they will be losing control, losing their minds, the emotions, fear around the world, because people are so influenced by this energy of the planets. So it's going to be emotions and out of control experiences and events that will plague the world during this cycle. Now I want to also talk about the nakshatras that Jupiter is transiting in, because in the very last 13 degrees 20 minutes of Scorpio is the nakshatra Jyeshta. And this nakshatra deals with, well, some say black magic. It's a potent nakshatra. And people that have this nakshatra strong are very powerful, very passionate, very intense. And this can deal with deep change, which is necessary during this time. But it does deal with jealousy, it deals with envy, it deals with power. But I often say that with this nakshatra strong, people can truly focus and manifest whatever they want in life. And those that have this nakshatra strong in their charts have the power to manifest. When I did a research project on billionaires' charts, one of the things I found in common was that most of them had the nakshatra Jyeshta very potent in their chart. So it gives you an idea of the power to manifest and to focus and materialize things. But at the same time, many say it's associated with black magic. And I personally think that that simply means people can manifest. That is the potent power of Jyeshta. So Jyeshta is intense. But let's talk about the nakshatra that starts at 0 degrees of Sagittarius. So the first 13 degrees 20 minutes of Sagittarius is the nakshatra Mula. And Mula, its symbol is a root, so it gets to the core and the bottom of things. And within this nakshatra is the galactic center, which is this most intense energy with that power of the black holes that are situated in this portion of the zodiac. But let me tell you a little bit more about this nakshatra, because the god that rules this nakshatra is Nriti, which is the goddess of destruction. That Nriti dances with skulls around her waist, and it is pretty much like the symbology of the dancing Shiva, which is the power to destroy. And those of you who have studied the planets around the time of September 11th, Mars and Ketu were in Mula, which is the most destructive nakshatra of all. And actually, people that have this nakshatra really strong in their charts can be self-destructive. They've got to really watch that. It is a nakshatra that many times has some connotations to addictions, because that is very self-destructive. So you see, it deals with destruction, but for the most part, sometimes in order for something to be reborn and renewed, the old has to be destroyed. And that is exactly what is happening right now. The old concepts, the old ways, they're being destroyed. And this is what is going to empower a new world, a new consciousness to come out of the destruction of the ignorance. And this is basically the very positive side of Mula. Mula is a nakshatra that's actually ruled by Ketu. And Ketu is an indicator of losses. So this will be a very, very intense time. So I noticed some other things that will be happening simultaneously. On March 28th, Mercury will turn direct. Finally, thank goodness. This has been a very intense retrograde. Mercury has been transiting in Pisces and retrograded back into Aquarius. And Mercury, when it turns direct, right around that time, of course, it stands still, and it's going to be around 22 degrees of Aquarius, which is exactly where Neptune is in the sky. So consider this, we will have Mercury standing still with Neptune. And Neptune does rule the oceans. It does rule the seas. It deals with water. And we have all these symbolic indicators that there's going to be more and more floods and storms that destroy. And with the power of destruction, there's probably going to be many earth changes as well. Because, as I'm always saying, when human emotion becomes very intense, it shakes the world and it changes things in the world, because some accumulation of all this emotion has an effect on our world. And that's what you'll be feeling with the out of control energy that we're feeling, that we're sensing, that we're seeing going on. So another thing I want to mention is the fact that when we talk about a planet that goes retrograde, so Jupiter is standing still, and it's going to begin its retrograde phase April 10th, and it will remain retrograde till August 11th. And August 11th, Jupiter will turn, it will be retrograde, stop, and turn direct at 20 degrees of Scorpio. So you'll want to look at your chart, by the way, and see if you have any of these degrees powerful in your chart. What are these degrees? Jupiter is going to station retrograde 0 degrees of Sagittarius, and it's going to turn direct on August 11th at 20 degrees of Scorpio. So if you have a planet within a degree of that, it will bring something positive, even if it's 0 degrees of Sagittarius. Yes, because Jupiter is the planet that brings opportunities, and you'll want to know if you have a planet there. So if you want to calculate your chart, you can always go to my website, to the free chart calculator, and if you scroll down, it gives you the degrees of all of your natal planets according to the sidereal Vedic chart. Remember, I am not talking about Western tropical astrology. No, this is sidereal astrology calculation, which is used in Vedic astrology. So looking at this is so important to understand that Vedic astrology stays true to the stars. So that's why I'm talking about these nakshatras and the stars and the fixed stars, but the galactic center is in this first 13 degrees, 20 minutes of Sagittarius. This is not going to be relative to the tropical Western chart. Now, a few more things to add. Note, when Mercury turns direct with Neptune, many things will be discovered, come out of the past, things we didn't know. Neptune deals with secrets and hidden agendas and deception and illusion, and this is going to be revealed. That is why so many countries and so many leaders are being exposed now. because of this Neptune, and especially with Mercury. Now, some other tough transits that are going on simultaneously is Mars is going to be at 0 degrees of Taurus right around the end of March, but Mars going into Taurus all by itself will begin to aspect the last degrees of where Jupiter is. So the Mars-Jupiter, that's really intense opposition. But Mars will also, the whole time when it's transiting in Taurus, will be aspecting Saturn, K2, and Pluto by its 8th aspect. Things are going to start heating up. Things are going to start getting more and more violent. Because remember, now we have K2 Saturn in Sagittarius. And as I've been saying all along, Rahu and Ketu in the sign of Sagittarius and Gemini. Rahu's in Gemini, Ketu's in Sagittarius. This is going to bring out more and more terrorism. Why? Because Sagittarius is the sign of fundamental spiritual beliefs, fanatics. And this is going to be where things start to heat up, because the last time that Rahu was in Gemini and Ketu in Sag was in 2001. But start to see how the emotions, the floods, and you know, when we talk about water, we talk about tears. So this is going to be the emotions that are stirred up and will be happening between this time of March, April, and May. So prepare yourself, because this is going to be a very emotional ride. But like always, it is an opportunity for us to better see ourselves, to grow, because what's happening is the destruction of the old, outdated, worn out ignorance. And that needs to come to an end. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like to learn more about me, or you would like a reading, you can always go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. And if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, I have a university. Go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.